Jew or Gentile, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, or non-believer. Our public meetings, I think, can be an even more sacred and comfortable space for all. So to that end, I have invited the Honorable Retired Judge Gerald F. Grubb to lead us in a blessing that hails from a more interfaith background. So I'd like to, probably don't need to introduce him, but I'd like to ask him to come forward and help me with the rest of the invocation.
Thank you, Amanda. Good evening. For those of you who know me, I did not retire and then join the clergy. I was asked to be here on behalf of my congregation, Temple Bethel in Rockford, Illinois, just to stand in for Rabbi Wing, who was not able to be here. I didn't really come from originally a non-Christian background. I was raised in the Irish Catholic tradition. As a matter of fact, the area of Belvedere that I used to live in was always called the Irish Patch. Bernie, he's smiling at that. When I went to college, I met my wife, who happened to be Jewish. And when we married, we made the decision that when we have children, they're going to be raised in one religion because we don't want the confusion that might result from the various differences that occur. So I joined Temple Bethel. It is a congregation of approximately 100 family units right now. It used to be well over 200 family units, but through attrition, I guess, deaths, and persons moving or retiring and moving away from the area, and we're not getting that many youngsters coming into the Rockford area anymore. So we're down. And likewise, there is another congregation, a Jewish congregation in Rockford called Ohave Shalom. They, too, are experiencing the same phenomena. As a matter of fact, they sold their building, and now they're in our building. They're sharing a portion of our building. But we're still very active. We're active with Amanda's church in Rockford. We belong to a group of churches called Partners in Faith, and we do a lot of work on behalf of the schools in that particular region. I think it's Spring Creek grade school that we oftentimes benefit. I was asked to present a prayer, and so I looked up in our prayer books, and I found one that I thought was appropriate for this group, and it's one that is often read in the services, usually on Friday nights. We being a Reformed congregation, we have our services on Friday nights. In a more conservative setting, it's usually on Saturdays. But it's a prayer that's pretty universal among the different congregations throughout the country. And so if you would, please bow your heads, and I'll give the invocation. Our God and God of our ancestors, accept with mercy our prayer for our land and its government. Pour out your blessing on this land, on its president, judges, officers, and officials who work faithfully for the public good. Teach them from your laws. Enlighten them with the rules of your justice, so that peace, tranquility, happiness, and freedom will never depart from our land. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Carl Johnson.
Here.
Sherry Branson. Here.
Here.
Jeff Carlisle.
Here.
Denny Ellingson.
Here.
Sherry Gieske.
Here.
Carl Larson.
Here.
Ray Larson.
Here.
Jessica Mueller.
Here.
Marshall Newhouse.
Here.
Bernard O'Malley.
Here.
Brad Stark.
Here.
Kathy Ward.
Here.
Next, I would accept a motion to approve the agenda. However, you have under number 7 an executive session. Ken, we're going to move that to the end, correct? So all the executive sessions, that will basically strike that executive session 7 and move its purpose down to 22.1, executive session litigation. So with those changes, could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Larson, seconded by Ms. Gieske. Any discussion? Ken?
Just a comment, the motion, what you move to the end of the agenda does have a motion coming out of the executive session. So just a comment.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Accept a motion to approve the minutes from the June 21st meeting.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Mr. Carlisle, second by Ms. Gieske. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Appointments and recognition. I believe we just have 3 appointments. I would accept a motion to approve the appointments, and I'll read them here. For Boone County Sanitary District would be Stuart Kemp to a 3-year term. The Boone County Board of Health, Marshall Newhouse, a 3-year term, and Dan Lenman to a 3-year term. All 3 individuals currently serve on those boards, and all 3 were also the only 3 to apply to any of those. So, made the decision kind of easy. Mr. Ellingson?
You need a motion yet?
Yes, I need a motion, yes.
I so move to approve.
Motion
Second.
by Mr. Ellingson, seconded by Mr. Stark. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And abstain. And one abstention from Mr. Newhouse. I'm surprised you didn't vote no. Do we have any public comment slips there, or is there anyone for public comment here? One more time, public comment? Yes, sir. Can I get you to fill out a sheet for me and then bring it up here also, please? That's right. Thank you very much. Then if you could just state your name and address for the record when you get the microphone, please.
Steve Cavallari, 135 Shadowbrook, Capron. The state passed a budget. What will that mean? I know this isn't like a question and answer, but are you guys starting to gear up to take care of some items that have been put off? Is the state going to start paying back their bills? Have they given you any positive feedback on this yet? You know, the basic questions on now that the state budget's going through. So much damage has been done, you know, by them not getting this taken care of. Over the last couple of years, I know it's always been, you know, we're not getting money for this, we're not getting money that, you know, from the state, affecting everything all the way on down to the 911, which should be a basic service. I do know that other news, larger departments have had to do layoffs because they were counting on taxes that weren't going through. You know, is this going to be a positive now for the county? Is the county going to be able to work a little bit better on taking care of some of the stuff that we've always done. That was pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8 will actually come after the executive session. Next up, we have reports from community agencies, Council on Aging.
Thank you. We met 2 days ago on the 19th. As seems to be the case with most meetings anymore, finance is always a concern. The state owes the Boone County Council on Aging of over $228,000 from past payments that should have been made. And of course, as was mentioned a minute ago about the state budget, with the budget passing, everything they're seeing and talking and getting word back on, it really doesn't mean a lot. They claim that they will be paying all of last year's payments, so we take that as a good sign. But then when we get the reports back from the agencies and the people in Springfield that work with it, they're not sure just when that's going to happen. At first it was going to be by the end of August or September it would all be paid. The second statement that came a week or so later was that by the end of this calendar year it should all be paid. And now they're just saying, well, there's a lot of money to be brought in yet, and we're not sure when all that's going to happen. But all in all, we're still rolling along fine. If it's here by the end of the year, we'll be okay, and we'll keep moving forward. The other thing that did come up that I should ask the entire board about, during the Boone County Fair, the Council on Aging is having a booth, and in fact, they're having a dunk tank. And they're looking for any volunteers that have any time that would be interested in participating. I'm sorry, it's not a dunk tank. It's a pie throwing contest.
Oh.
That would be interested in, if you want a little bit of cheap pie, it might taste pretty good. So if you're interested, let me or let the office over there know.
I assume you're going to be there, Denny?
I might throw pie.
Thank you. Growth Dimensions, Pam is not here, I understand. Sherry, can you enlighten us on anything?
Well, yeah, but I don't have any information about pie, so I don't know.
Well, in that case, next.
Very good. Just a couple of quick things. The next Wired Wednesday event will be held September 13th at the Wings and Wheels Museum. The enterprise zone revenue for this month was $723 and change. I don't remember the change. The executive director is going to attend the International Economic Development Conference in Toronto. I think it's next month. And it has become very clear that we are suffering from some of the same things that everyone else is in the economic development arena, and that is Chrysler and their suppliers are really struggling to find employees that are qualified to fill their jobs. This has been a problem everywhere, and I attended an economic development conference back in May, I think it was, and that was one of the biggest issues. And what these employers are beginning to do is they are going to where the employees are, rather than waiting for the employers to come to them. So anyhow, this is a challenge. Our high school, Belvedere High School, is working very closely with Rock Valley and those sorts of things to try and put together a program that's going to take some of these folks and make them into qualified employees. The sad thing is Boone County still has a tad bit higher unemployment rate than a lot of the other counties. So it's kind of a conundrum, and we're no different than the rest of the country, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, CASA, Ms. Meyer.
Hello. For those that don't know, I'm Charlotte Meyer, the director of Boone County CASA, and we train volunteers to advocate for abused and neglected kids in our community. We are currently serving 43 children with 23 advocates total. 18 of them currently have cases, and we do have another one that's going to be sworn in tomorrow. We do have some events coming up. We have a Chipotle fundraiser next Thursday, the 27th. That's from 3 to 7. I gave you guys a whole packet of stuff there. So One of the things that I gave you was a sheet that you either have to show or you can show it on your phone. But if you show that or mention that you're there for the CASA fundraiser, we get 50% of the sales, which is a fantastic opportunity for us. So we would much appreciate if everyone could go to Chipotle next Thursday. We also have but there is a car show that's going to be taking place the end of August, on August 26th. It's one of our board members who is putting it on, and all the proceeds are going to CASA. I also included a registration form and a donation form for you guys as well. Our 50-50 raffle is currently taking place. The winning ticket will be drawn on September 14th at our celebrity roast of Carrie Turner. The 50-50 tickets are 6 tickets for $5, and those can be purchased either through the CASA office or through our website, which is boonecountycasa.org. Celebrity roast tickets are also currently on sale. Those are $35 a piece, and those are available at the Belvedere Alpine Bank locations, the community building, and the CASA office as well. We are also accepting donations for the silent auction, which will take place at the roast. So if you know of anyone who's interested in donating an item or a full basket, by all means have them call me, and we'll go from there. I think that's it.
Thank you, Charlotte. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, Regional Planning Council. That is real simple. I don't think there's been any meeting for the RPC. So I think the next meeting is tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, tomorrow at 10 a.m. So next month. Anything else anybody wants to talk about? I'm sorry. Sorry, man. You were already up here once. Board of Health.
Okay. So before I talk a little bit about the variety of different tobacco education and prevention programs that we're currently running at the health department, I just wanted to let you all know how successful our third annual Boone County Farmers Market and Wellness Fair was yesterday. So the Boone County Health Department has been doing the farmers market for, I believe, 8 or 9 years now, but this is our third annual combined health and wellness fair where we've partnered with county admin and City of Belvedere. And each year it gets bigger and bigger. And this year was definitely the biggest event we've had so far. We had over 40 vendors that were present providing health and wellness education to the community. We were trying to keep a clicker tally of how many people were coming through. We came pretty close to 400, and that's the biggest it's ever been. The farmers sold $1,800 worth of produce in about 4.5 hours. Pretty good. We issued 1,140 food instruments, which are the regular WIC coupons that we issue to our women, infant, and children participants for 110 clients. So that's the most we've ever done in a single day for a market like this. We also gave out 210 of our booklets for the vouchers for fresh fruits and vegetables. I know that the Boone County Council on Aging was also issuing vouchers to our low-income senior residents, and we had many of them attend the fair as well and redeem their coupons for fresh fruits and vegetables, which was awesome. And then the Bloodmobile did fantastic. It was our biggest group yet. We had 34 registered donors, 21 pints collected, 14 new donors, and up to 63 lives saved. So it was a pretty successful event overall. I don't know, Ken, if you had anything else to add?
No, we're just delighted to partner with the health department and have this event. It promotes our local agriculture and it promotes wellness, so you can't lose with either of those. So thank you.
Yeah, it went really well. We were really pleased with it. So wanted to make you all aware of that. And then just to tell you a little bit about tobacco-free communities, I'll keep it brief. We have a variety of different programs. Our health educators regularly visit schools in Boone County, and we present on the hazards of smoking, smokeless tobacco, and most recently the use of e-cigarettes, which is becoming more and more popular. They're coming in lots of flavors that are targeting 9, 10, and 11-year-olds is their target market. So we are in the upper elementary schools and the middle schools. We are not in the high schools. We're trying to catch these kids before they even start. For a third year in a row, we've been working with the sheriff, the Belvedere Police, Explorer Scouts, and our department through a grant with the Illinois Liquor Commission to do tobacco compliance checks. So there's 35 known tobacco retailers in Boone County, and the Explorer Scouts are underage high school kids that go in. They attempt to purchase a pack of cigarettes, and if cigarettes are successfully sold to them, then we do ticket and fine the establishment, provide them with education that they need to be carding, and make sure that our retail establishments are following proper protocol and not selling to our underage kids in the county. So that's a pretty exciting partnership. Then we also have a brand new federal grant. We were selected in the northern region, out of all the health departments in the northern region, to manage this particular grant, and they gave us some money for staff time to help to organize an ad campaign for educating folks about the dangers of smoking and smokeless tobacco. And the benefit for the health department and for the county is that our name is on ads that are reaching across the region. So I'm going to pass around a few examples. This is the ad that's going to run in the Boone County Shopper. Here's an ad that's going to be in El Tiempo, which is one of our Hispanic Latino newspapers in the region. The RMTD buses are going to have bus wraps with Boone County Health Department logo advertising all the work that's being done in this county, so we know where those buses go all over the place. We're going to be advertising on the Jumbotron for Ice Hogs games. We're going to be seeing advertisements of Boone County Health Department at AMC theaters. And we're also going to be on the Comcast network. There's a long list of channels. I won't list them all off, but there's a few: Discovery, History, MTV, A&E, HGTV, a few Hispanic channels, and then locally on WTBO and Fox. And running also during Judge Judy and Modern Family, they told me. So if you watch either of those shows, you'll see these advertisements, and you'll see Boone County's name and Boone County Health Department's name all over the region. So we're pretty excited about that. Money from the federal government coming straight to our local community. Any questions?
All right, thank you very much, Amanda.
Thank you.
Good job.
Next up, and accept a motion for the consent agenda. Motion by Mr. Newhouse. Is there a second? Second by Mr. O'Malley. Before we vote, I just want to let everybody know I'm going to abstain from voting on the consent agenda, as there are two contracts for road projects on there. The first one is one for civil constructors out of Freeport, Illinois. They are one of my direct customers, a very good customer of mine, so I'm going to abstain. And Rock Road is also a good customer of my company, so I'm going to abstain from everything on that, so not to have any appearance of impropriety. So, that being said, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? One abstention. Next up, we have standing committees, PZB.
Thank you. We start with 11.1, a motion to approve case number 12-2017, Rakuski. The applicant is seeking plat approval for combining lots 85 and 86 of Candlewick Lake, Unit 10, into Lot L, Unit 10. The applicant is also requesting the vacation of the utility easement and setbacks between the two lots. It's been approved by staff and PZB 5-0.
Motion by Mr. Ellingson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Stark. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. 11.2 is a motion to approve intergovernmental agreement with Village of Timberlane for planning services staff. For planning services staff approved and PZB approved at 5-0.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ellingson, seconded by Mr. Newhouse. Any discussion? Ken?
Go ahead, Ken. You're more important.
Just information, we communicated with the village president yesterday, and his board still needs to approve this agreement, so it quite possibly could be tweaked and then it would just come back to committee next month in the event of that occurring. We also did speak with him about adopting the Boone County codes, which he is very willing to do. Of course, his board would have to agree to do that as well.
Mr. Stark?
I just want to say I was very impressed with the work Hillary put into this agreement going forward with Timberlane, and I believe it showed the difference between her trying to plan for us as a county and them as a small municipality, because we have very different goals and ways to reach them, and them being willing to adopt our codes is going to make her job easier. And I also want to state how we have something built in there if there is a conflict of interest, because the differences of our code and the differences of what the county wants to do and what a municipality would want to do, that we have an out where we're not going to get involved in something that's a conflict of interest because of the vast difference of county planning compared to municipal planning. I just think Hillary needs a thumbs up for doing that legwork on that and doing a great job to move us forward.
Thank you, Mr. Stark. Good job, Hillary. Mr. Newhouse?
If the potential exists for Timberlane to, I think the word was tweak it, should we be voting now or should we wait till they have a document or an agreement on the document?
Madam State's Attorney?
I think that you could do it either way. You could, if you vote on it as now and then subject to their approval, and then we could bring it back if necessary. They have seen it for an extended period of time here. I talked to their attorney today. They didn't request any changes prior to some tweaks that we made, including, I believe, as long as they are going to commit to changing to adopt our zoning ordinance, was the big change. So I don't anticipate there's going to be probably anything coming from them, but again, until that happens, I don't want to say for certain. So I think that, again, if you want to adopt it, subject to their approval.
Would we need to amend the motion then, subject to their approval?
Yes, if that wasn't on the original motion, I would say that.
Mr. Newhouse?
I would move to amend the motion so that it would have read into it somehow that there would be some substantial agreement between Boone County and the Village of Timberlane, so their tweaking might not be too aggressive.
You totally lost me there, Mr. Newhouse.
Well, if they're going to tweak it, and we've already agreed, or we've already approved it, we're approving something that's still floating around in thin air, and I would like to have both sides of the agreement in agreement before we vote on it. So that's my amendment, would be to say that there would be substantial agreement, and if there's Scribner's changes or something along those lines, that's entirely appropriate, but I don't want them changing agreement that we've already voted on.
Madam State's Attorney.
Well, I guess there's a motion on the floor, and if that isn't amended, then, and then if they want to table it after that, then
Okay.
go through that.
So a motion by Mr. Newhouse. Is there a second? Well, he just made a motion to amend.
I'll second it.
So seconded by Ms. Branson. Mr. Ellingson, you had something you wanted to comment.
Yeah, I guess I don't see any reason to not approve it the way it is. It's pretty specific. If they do not agree with that contract and want to bring something else back, then we have to start over. But if they simply approve it, we've just got our job done, and it really doesn't matter if they approve it first or we approve it first. If, as far as we know, their intention is to, accept it, I think we just well get it done and let them go ahead and finish their job. But if they come back and say we're not accepting it, it basically is off the table anyway.
That's just a point of clarification from the State's Attorney. Just if we approve it just as it is, without any additional language, and they don't approve it exactly how it is, it's not really approved by us if they change something.
Well,
it's a completely different motion there, or a different
Well,
agreement.
it's just not, you don't have a contract then.
Right.
If they don't
Right.
agree to what you have agreed to, if there's no meeting of the minds.
And
there's
if
no
they did,
contract.
if they did make changes, excuse me, we could bring it back here and simply adopt the changes if we so desired, or a committee could decide that they didn't like those changes and send it back to them and say, either our way or the highway.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Somebody else have something? Jessica?
I was going to suggest that we clarify Marshall's amendment of the motion. So just as the state's attorney first mentioned, just we would vote on it, just subsequent to their approval, and that would be the sole amendment to the motion.
I
Vote to
think
approve.
Mr. Newhouse's, the intent of his motion anyway, please tell me if I'm incorrect, Mr. Newhouse.
I muddled through it, so go ahead, try to decipher.
is
Clarification, please.
is that if there's, small changes, wording as far as a comma or a period or, simple things like that, maybe a small word here or there, that would be acceptable to him, but that if they make any substantial changes, it's not an agreement.
And I think that,
Is that kind of what you're talking about?
and I think that legally that would automatically send it back to committee. We
That's-
approve the language that we approve. We vote on this language, and if they come back with different language, then it starts over.
That's the way I think it would normally go. So I don't know if the motion you've made, Mr. Newhouse, is kind of moot, I guess, because if they don't agree to what we've proposed, then it's not really an agreement. Mr. Newhouse.
I guess I can appreciate that, but I've been hearing two separate discussions here. One, they either agree and sign it and we have an agreement, or two, they kind of agree, they change it a little bit, and we still move forward. And
No, it would, the only part that would move forward would be that it would come back to committee, and committee would review what changes, if any, that they made
Well,
to that
I misunderstood
agreement.
that then. I thought that we
Yeah.
would be making an agreement, or we have a document, we would be voting on that document tonight, and they could tweak it and vote on it.
No, if they tweak it, that would be changing the document.
Yes.
Or changing it. So if we vote to approve this document, subject to their approval, then we would have an agreement. If they approve it just the way it is. If they decide, well, no, we don't want to do this, we don't want to do that, and we want to do this different, then that's not the document we approved, therefore it's not an agreement. So it would come back to committee, and committee could review it and then determine if those changes were in the interest of the county or not. If they were, then committee would vote on it to send it back to the full board for another vote to approve. Go ahead.
If the state's attorney is agreeing with your timeline of things, then I'll agree with you that my amendment was mute.
I would agree with the chairman's explanation.
I would remove my amendment then.
Okay. Motion removed by Mr. Newhouse. Ms. Branson, would you remove your second?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Did somebody else have something? Ms. Kieske?
Well, as I listen to this, I think for the city-county, this reminds me of things you do in city-county. With a like approval by so-and-so, it becomes, passed. So the intent here seems to be the same.
So I would ask to amend the motion, or to ask for an amendment on the motion with a wording that Ms. Kieske used, with like approval from Timber Lane Board. That we
So
would add
moved.
that to it. Motion by Mr. Newhouse. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Kieske. Any further discussion? Hillary, anything you want to add? I'm sorry? Oh, okay. All right. All those in favor of the amendment to the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Hillary?
I just wanted to give you guys a really quick overview of where we're at with the comprehensive plan.
Oh, wait a minute.
Nope.
We still have to vote on the original motion as amended.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I thought we were done.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Kieske?
I'm sure this is not the order in which I should have said this, but can I just ask if there are other potential customers in the pipeline out there like this?
Not that I'm aware of at this moment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have been slapped on the hand by our state's attorney. That should have been a roll call vote. So can we redo that vote? Roll call, please. Yeah, the second one. This is for the motion as amended.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Sherry Branson,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Denny Ellingson,
Yes.
Sherry Gieske,
Yes.
Carl Larson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Jessica Muehlner,
Yes.
Marshall Newhouse,
Yes.
Bernard O'Malley,
Yes.
Brad Stark,
Yes.
Kathy Ward,
Yes.
Carl Johnson.
Yes. Motion carries. Now you can go, Hillary.
I'm sorry, I was really excited. We have started to have a survey available for people to take on the comprehensive plan. It's available on our website in English and in Spanish. I also have hard copies available here if you'd like to take one while you're sitting here at the meeting, or take some for other people and want to bring them back. And I also have flyers for our first workshop meeting that we're going to be having, which is the North Boone Fire District 3. That is our health, wellness, safety, and livability workshop. It will be from 5 to 7 at that location. It'll be another opportunity for you to participate. We're going to have activities to engage you, to get feedback, so that we can incorporate that in the overall plan. And we also have visioning boards throughout the county, similar, just different ways to get people's response if they're not interested in doing one of the few that are available. So just wanted to give a quick update on that.
Any questions for Hillary on that? Ms. Gieske?
What is the date of it's in August, the health, wellness, and safety. What is that number date?
It is August 23rd.
23rd?
And we are working on creating a flyer for all of the workshops so that they all have the dates and the locations. Just not yet.
Thank you.
No problem.
Anything else? Thank you, Hillary. Nice job getting that going. Thank you. Mr. Ellingson, anything else?
We are complete.
All right, thank you. Finance, Ms. Gieske.
Yes, item 12.1 is a motion to approve claims with the understanding that Carl Johnson abstains from voting on all claims presented by William Charles and Associates and HD Supply, and Denny Ellingson abstains from voting on all claims presented by Conserv FS. This is approved 4-0 in committee.
Motion by Ms. Gieske, a second. By Mr. Carlisle. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Denny Ellingson,
Yes.
Sherry Gieske,
Yes.
Carl Larson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Jessica Muehlner,
Yes.
Marshall Newhouse,
Yes.
Bernard O'Malley,
Yes.
Brad Stark,
Yes.
Kathy Ward,
Yes.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Sherry Branson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 12.2 is a motion to approve Resolution 17-28, which is the sale of delinquent taxes. This, too, is approved 4-0.
Motion by Ms. Gieske, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Branson. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Denny Ellingson,
Yes.
Sherry Gieske,
Yes.
Carl Larson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Jessica Muehlner,
Yes.
Marshall Newhouse,
Yes.
Bernard O'Malley,
Yes.
Brad Stark,
Yes.
Kathy Ward,
Yes.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Sherry Branson,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 12.3 is a motion to approve a credit card application for the Treasurer's Office. This would be for the Treasurer Curtis Newport in the credit limit of $5,000.
Motion by Ms. Gieske, is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Newhouse. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sherry Gieske,
Yes.
Carl Larson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Jessica Muehlner,
Yes.
Marshall Newhouse,
Yes.
Bernard O'Malley,
Yes.
Brad Stark,
Yes.
Kathy Ward,
Yes.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Sherry Branson,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Denny Ellingson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And the final item is 12.4. It's a motion to approve an accounts payable policy, and this, too, was approved 4-0.
Motion by Ms. Gieske, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. O'Malley. Any discussion?
There was just, Kurt made one minor change. He submitted this to the Finance Committee, and then he went back and just made one minor change, and it is about the original invoices and receipts will be submitted to the Treasurer's Office, and then Julie's department will get them.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's it for finance.
Thank you, Ms. Kieske. Mr. Stark, roads.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 13-1, motion to approve adding the POW MIA flag to county property beneath the U.S. flag.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Stark, seconded by Ms. Ward. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. 13-2, motion to approve a scope of work from NIR Roofing for repairs to the courthouse roof in the amount of $18,500. This is a budgeted item.
Motion by Mr. Stark, seconded by Mr. Ellingson. Just to clarify a little bit, that says a budgeted item. It was not planned to do, but there was budgeted money in a maintenance repair fund in the budget. So the money will be coming out of there, just to make sure we're clarified on that. Any discussion? Mr. Newhouse.
Having not witnessed this firsthand, but it's my understanding that some of the courthouses or courtrooms in the middle of rainstorms are moving buckets around to catch rainwater as it's coming through. Does this dollar amount deal with specific points where this may occur, or is this a broad repair that will deal with the whole roof, or how would one characterize this dollar amount?
I think they're actually just moving all the buckets to the top of the roof. So, just, you know, that's why it's so inexpensive. No, as I understand it, this is, several years ago, this was leaking, and it was repaired. However, the repair did not work well, so this became a problem again. So this repair is for one small section of the flat roof and should alleviate all the issues. Should. Let's hope so. Mr. Newhouse.
I assume we have a guarantee, but as I'm looking at my payment terms, the final portion is due upon completion of the project. Is our guarantee good for more than a minute afterwards? Because a flat roof is a problem no matter where it is, and however long you think it's going to last, it's not going to last that long. So what recourse do we have when this one buggers up?
Ken, I'll let you take that one.
There's a 5-year warranty on the work that they're going to do, and it's a total replacement of one section that they believe is causing the problem.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Roll call, please.
Carl Larson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Jessica Muehlner,
Yes.
Marshall Newhouse.
Yep.
Bernard O'Malley.
Yes.
Brad Stark,
Yes.
Kathy Ward.
Yes.
Carl Johnson.
Yes.
Sherry Branson.
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Denny Ellingson.
Yes.
Sherry Gieske.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mr. Stark, anything else?
That is all we have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Health, Mr. Carlisle, I see you have no motions. Anything you'd like to just, words of wisdom?
Oh, thank you for the attention, but I'll pass at this time.
Thank you. All right, admin.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve Boone County Strategic Plan for 2017-2018.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Newhouse, seconded by Ms. Gieske. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That is all we have from admin, sir.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Ward, City County.
Yes, contingent upon a like vote of the Belvedere City Council, approve Resolution 1727, the reorganization of the Belvedere Boone County Citizens Court Commission. This was approved 9-0.
Motion by Ms. Ward, second by Ms. Branson. Any discussion? Ms. Gieske.
I'm just curious, how does this Citizen Corps Commission, how do they interface or integrate or enhance the emergency response agencies already? In other words, how do they fit in and what value will be added and all that?
Mr. Terranoni.
The Citizen Corps started after 9/11. It was a national effort to have almost, if you remember, the Civil Defense Corps of many decades ago, years ago, but this was an initiative after 9/11 to model after that. So it was really a separate entity. What this proposal does is it brings it under our local emergency planning committee, which is a standing committee that's mandated by the state to inventory and coordinate emergency operations as it relates to business, property. So it really merges things in and has one group under one umbrella, and we think it'll be just much more efficient.
Ms. Kieske?
So does one exist already, and you're just going to bring them under the umbrella, and that will be Brad Bartel? Isn't
Yeah,
Brad the person, the head of EMA?
Yeah, the LEPC already exists. So the Citizen Corps was decided to be inactive about maybe 4 years ago. So we're just reinventing the Citizen Corps and merging it in with the LEPC, and we think the whole function will be much more efficient.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Larson, I see Public Safety has no motions, but anything you'd like to throw our way?
No comment at this time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Special committees, community building.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we meet tomorrow. I would say that perhaps many of you people knew Carl Persons, who was on the Community Building Board for more than 12 years. He just passed away recently, so there'll be a new appointment to that board, but we'll meet tomorrow, and that's a city appointment, I believe. I don't think it's a county appointment.
All right, thank you. UCCI, Ken?
The educational event in Galena will be next Tuesday. And also this Saturday, I will be an instructor at the Leadership Academy. And the topic is budgeting inside the box, why things won't get any better. And one of your own will be in attendance, so he can report as to whether it was a snoozer or any good. So,
Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Ternoli. Next up, Community Action Agency, Ms. Ward.
Yes, that also meets tomorrow noon, so I'll find out more about what's going on. I know they're very concerned about the possibility of losing a lot of funding, like many of the rest of you have mentioned.
Thank you. Mr. Newhouse, 911.
Oh, I would say business as usual. The updating of equipment continues. The selection process for the 16th dispatcher continues and may have been completed by now. It's been a month since the last meeting, so I'll know more tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Newhouse. Any other committees anybody wants to talk about? Wonderful. Scheduling of committees. Ms. Kieske.
Finance will meet August 1st at 6:45 p.m. right here.
Mr. Larson.
Public Safety Committee meeting, August 7th, 6 p.m. in this building.
Mr. Ellingson.
Next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. is the ZBA meeting in this room. And then the next month's PCB meeting is August the 2nd in this room at 6 o'clock.
Thank you. Mr. Newhouse.
Admin, Monday, August 7th, 6:45.
Ms. Ward.
City County meeting is switched to the first Wednesday. It will be at 6:45 here.
Mr. Carlisle.
Health, Human Services, 6 o'clock, this building, be there.
Sir? I don't think anybody's done it that dramatic.
Come on.
Mr. Stark.
Roads, August 1st, 6 o'clock this room.
Thank you very much. Any unfinished business, Ken?
No.
New business?
No.
Information?
Plenty of information items to peruse at your leisure. We are still at it with our roof grant program, so if you are aware of any folks who would be eligible for a roof replacement, please contact my office. And there's a number of other informational items for your perusal.
Thank you, sir. You all realize if we didn't have executive session, we'd be out of here in almost record time. However, executive sessions, I think, going to take just a little bit, because we've got a lot for executive session. So I would ask for an executive session to go over litigation, personnel, collective bargaining, and review of executive session minutes. Under the personnel part of executive session, I'd like to ask that we allow Mr. Alan Zielinski to stay in the room. And then under litigation, go ahead, Karen.
If we could ask or allow Attorney Peggy Gherkin to remain in the room.
And collective bargaining, probably Linda Anderson, if she'd so like to stay or not. Okay, super. So we will we'll start with personnel, I believe, and then move to. You want to do litigation or collective bargaining first?
Let's do the collective bargaining, then the litigation.
Okay.
Yep. And then we also have review of executive session minutes.
And then there are expected motions coming out of executive session. So just to make that clear. Question, query, Mr. Newhouse?
I was going to make the motion.
All right. Motion by Mr. Newhouse to go to executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Branson. Roll call, please.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Jessica Muehlner,
Yes.
Marshall Newhouse.
Yep.
Bernard O'Malley,
Yes.
Brad Stark,
Yes.
Kathy Ward.
Yes.
Carl Johnson.
Yes.
Sherry Branson,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Denny Ellingson,
Yes.
Sherry Gieske,
Yes.
Carl Larson.
Yes.
Motion carries. We'll take about a 2-minute break and clear the room and start with personnel.
Gone down for 4-H Day for many, many years. Nothing outside. Couple beef shows.
I'm just peachy.
Jump in. Feel free to jump in anytime, Jeff.
Thank you, dear. Find something good.
Oh, it's okay. Jeez. I was like, oh. You just hold it down. Is that how you make it?
There you go. Good for you. How's it going? Okay?
Public safety.
Good, thank you.
Oh. You're like, get it on record.
It's very
We're just talking about nothing, I'm sure.
You've got a meeting that night. Monday night before the fair.
Fair starts at
So I just didn't want to know how to do it, and so I think I was watching over your shoulder. You just hold.
Okay, I just had wrote down that
Howard
one.
Civil, but because it said meter under it, that was mine.
Yeah, 6:45, August 1st. All right, so what, I'm sorry, so what's going on? When are you not going to be there? Are you going to be there
He's
December
not going to be
1st?
there on the 7th.
I won't be there on the 7th. That's the administration, legislative, and public safety. Yeah.
Okay.
Just thought I'd better pass that word out.
Because this, what day is August 7th, is a Tuesday?
The 7th is a Tuesday. No, it's Monday. It's Monday. Tuesday, the 8th is the start of the fair.
That's what I was going to say, I'm just zoning out here. All right, so you're going to be visiting.
So what did you do to your hand?
Oh, somewhere between setting up pens and setting up the ice cream.
Ah.
For the
I like to eat down.
Nice. And you'll manage to only just kind of bunk your wrist on it, chance.
And what barns do you set up then? All of them?
I mean, all the targeting.
Oh, that's great.
Where the ice cream stand is.
Is that a